morning. Welcome to my home and welcome to my heart. Caught a little sun this weekend. You probably see a little bit of radiance coming off of me. The color red goes with the heart. That's tomorrow. Fire. There was fire. We were at a horse show this weekend and it was pretty sunny. As you can tell, my lips are pretty much fried. Natural sunscreens, gotta find those. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happiness. Where do we find happiness? How to create happiness? Well, we can simply invite it in. We can invite it in by letting go of things that are creating some intensity in us and coming back to some quiet stillness of happiness. So the wood element. Happiness is in the wood. I love wood. I love the feeling of it. My ceilings are wood. Don't know if you can see that. Let me just show you here. My stairs are wood. My floor is wood. My ceilings are wood. There we go. See my poor lips? And my head. I fried it. Wood has got such a wonderful feeling to me. It feels alive, and it is alive. Yesterday when we were at the horse show, I was sitting on a fence rail and I was leaning against this tree and it was quite windy. As I was leaning against this tree, I could feel the tree moving in the wind. And it felt surreal for a moment. It was like, wow. It was almost a little bit like vertigo, but because I was sitting on a solid fence that wasn't moving and I was leaning against a tree that was just gently swaying, you had to kind of check yourself and go, what is this movement? It was very cool though. I don't know if you've watched the movie The Chronicles of Narnia or read those books. They talk about the trees coming alive. And now the research, the scientific research, really shows that trees have a community and they communicate with each other through the roots and the fungi and all of the different tiny little cellular things that are happening in our whole ecosystem. It's so very, very cool. And going back to the Chronicles of Narnia, when they talk about the trees being alive and having a spirit, in Qigong and in Spring Forest Qigong, we step into the concept that everything has a chi field. My chair, you can't see it here, my carpet, this teak wood, the wood up here, the glass, everything has a chi field, and we connect with each other's chi fields. And I connected with that tree yesterday. I know this sounds, she's a tree hugger. Yes, I'm a tree hugger. I love it. I will wear that with pride and joy because we are all connected to everything around us. Everything. Even the components that went into this cell phone. They all come from the earth. There's nothing that we have that has not come from the earth. Yes, sometimes man has manipulated things that have come from the earth to change them, but it still comes from the earth. It's still there. And we come from the earth too, and so even in our manipulations, we're still organic. We can still honor and find joy in all of this, even if it feels like it's man-made or plastic. It all has a chi field. Louise Hay loves to say, I thank my refrigerator, I thank my computer, I thank my car, I thank my bed. So as we live in that spirit of joy and happiness, and yes, sometimes we're not there. Absolutely, that's life. But as we evolve back into that and we open ourselves to that possibility that everything does have a chi field, everything is moving, everything is alive in some manner, perhaps not the way alive that we sense that our physical bodies are alive, but very clearly alive. As I was with all these horses this weekend and my team, I was coaching a couple of students, and we have a coach that teaches our higher level kids, and as all of our teams worked together for the accomplishments, and we connected with our horses' minds. I got this old guy named Ringo, and we're now calling him Professor Ringo, because he taught his little rider so many things this weekend. And then when she could understand how to use her energy to tell him some things, he said, okay, you got it. I will do what you've asked me to do. But before she understood exactly what she needed to do, because her nerves were getting her and she was kind of going, and kind of falling apart, he would say, well, okay, I'm going to do this then. And she would have to dial up her energy and say, no, Ringo, don't do that, do this. And he'd go, no, but I want to do this. And she'd have to dial up her energy and say, no, Ringo, please do that. And finally he would say, okay, I'll do that because you've told me in a manner that I can understand and appreciate. And she was always respectful about it. but she could dial up her energy and set up those boundaries and get things done. And she actually placed, it made me so happy I cried. She worked hard all weekend, and the classes that she was in had 17 riders in them. And a lot of those riders were schooling horses. Some of them were probably semi-professional riders, bringing in younger horses, but they were still being judged. So she's an 11-year-old kid on this 20-year-old horse being judged against these other people. And so the first day she didn't have any ribbons, but she learned a lot. And she got, from her first to her third ride, her third ride was perfect. There was nothing I would change. It was absolutely perfect. And then the next day she had the same experience. She had some things that she had to kind of fix up in the first ride. Her second ride again was perfect. And she got a third place ribbon in her second ride. And that makes me cry now. It made me cry then because she worked really hard. She got places where she was discouraged, and she pushed through her discouragement and let that discouragement go and just went back to work. It was tremendous. It was just wonderful. So as we think and settle into happiness, how do we create happiness? How do we invite happiness? Especially when life happens to us that creates things that wouldn't necessarily bring you happiness. So how do we do that? First of all, we can bounce. When stuff comes in, I had a little rider too, whose horse was all excited about horse show energy and blew out of the stall and run her over. And so she had to learn to be able to access some higher energy and say to him, no, you can't do that. Set up a big boundary. And as I taught her to bounce in her stall as she was working with her horse, she started to bounce and her horse was kind of agitated. And as she started to bounce just a little bit and let go of the extra energy that she was carrying, you could see the horse calm right there. It was very, very cool. It was very cool. So as we find out what's happening in ourself, as we receive the energy and observe what's happening in ourselves and receive that energy and change it in some way. Change it in some way. Either say, yes, I want this, and I'm going to amp it up, and then we will create a result. Perhaps not that one that we wanted. But we have all this energy available to us, and how do we use the energy, and how do we change the energy, and how do we manage the energy to go to a result that we would like, an expectation that we would like. Sometimes our expectations are not necessarily what we need. We might think we need them, and so we get connected to that expectation, and that can create problems as well. I posted on my own page, and I'll put onto this page, just a short clip of a video of an interview between Marianne Williamson and Deepak Chopra about this very thing, about our expectations. It's very cool. I will drop it in here. It is important to have goals. It is important to have hopes and dreams and plans and purpose. Just a minute, I need to go let the puppies into their kennel. Do you need to go get water? But when we get attached to outcomes that we have described, we might put a lid and a ceiling on possibility. There's the deal. And in our Qigong movements, and in all the whole practice of Qigong, our point is to go into what Master Lin calls the emptiness, what many people call the emptiness, that space where we're open to all possibility. The emptiness is not a nothingness space. It's a space of possibility. And so as we practice, I invite us into an observation space. Master Gaju has a wonderful analogy of sitting in a limousine. And in the limousine, somebody else is driving. So close your eyes and come along with me on this little analogy. Somebody else is driving. And one of the things that we talk about in Qigong is calling upon the energy of our master. And I invite you to consider a master to be someone for whom you feel they have perfect understanding and knowledge and wisdom of the whole functioning of the universe and full access to all the possibilities. That is what my master has. And so back to our limousine analogy. The master and the driver of our limousine is our master. And as we sit in the limousine and know and understand that our master driver is taking us to possibilities and places that are going to nourish and instruct and feed and clothe and care for us in a manner that will speak to our greatest expansion. And so as we sit in that limousine, with a complete trust in the driving master, we can observe. And Louise Hay does this too. Just observe your thoughts. She says, oh, there's a fear thought that went by. Well, that's a catastrophe. Observe. Ah, this is what I'm observing. Is this what I want? I'm observing that when I do this and this, this happens. Is this what I want? Or would I like to create something different? And if I would like to create something different, what can I adjust in me that will create something different? Whatever we focus on is what we're going to get more of. So as we bounce right now, think about observing. Let's allow our hands to float above our heads. Just floating up. And as your hands float up, observe your body. Observe if there's little spots in your body that hurt, that are holding tension. I felt my shoulders be up, so I allowed them to just settle down. Observe your elbows. Are they locked? Are they tight? Observe your wrists. Are they loose? Observe your fingers. Observe your head. I just observed that my chin was up and therefore I was creating some tension at the base of my skull. As I drop my chin down, my shoulders relax. As I stretch up a little bit, just envision myself rising up into the universe. My chin drops down, my shoulders relax, my jaw softens. Interesting. Scanning down the rest of my body as I'm bouncing. Feel my shoulders climbing again. And I feel into my pelvis. It feels like it's aligned quite nicely right now because I feel a loosening and a softening in my sacrum. Continuing down my body, feeling into my hips. They feel loose. I'm feeling into my knees. They feel supportive. I'm feeling into my heels. My heels feel grounded. I'm feeling into the balls of my feet where that bubbling spring is. And I feel happiness. I feel buoyant. I feel light. I feel supported. I kind of feel a little radiant. Your experience might be different than mine this morning because you might have had different things going on. I'm going to allow my hands to float down and observe as we go. Where do my shoulders go? We're simply observing right now. Somebody else is driving the limousine. Just observe. And as we bounce, just allow our arms to swing back and forth and back and forth. I observed that my chin was up. Actually, I observed, first of all, that the back of my head, the base of my head, was feeling tight. And as soon as I felt that feeling tight, my body automatically said, chin, drop down. So as my chin dropped down, the muscles at the back of my head stretched out a little bit, and they said, oh, thank you, that relaxed me. As we swivel back and forth with our hands just nice and loose, dancing around, feel like a little child here. We're in the element of happiness, the wood. The liver system is what we're working with. And And allow our bodies, and on the exhale, to come into a quiet stillness. We're still bouncing. Breathe out. I love that feeling when I specifically breathe out and allow my body to become still, how then I just receive a buoyancy. My hands literally float out and my arms literally float out from my body. And in my mind's eye, I have this image of a gingerbread person. So I don't see any details, I just see the softness of my hands and arms. And that gingerbread person, it has a beautiful white aura around it. And in my mind's eye, I can feel the resonance and the vibration of that aura around my body. And it just feels so supportive and light. In this space, we think about the wood energy in our liver system. And the expanding feeling in this space is happiness. And happiness softens feelings of anger. Our liver moves those feelings through, those emotions, the emotions of anger, come through and get stuck in the liver system and the gallbladder if we're not aware. So if you're having gallbladder issues, think about anger and where you might be holding anger. And allow the feelings of happiness to come in. The bouncing will help to release the feelings of anger. We need to observe them first and understand where they came from. And here in this space now, we bring our hands to the lower dantian. Women, your right hand is next to the navel. Men, your left hand is next to the navel. They are not touching. And here we set the intention for our practice today. Calling upon the energy of our Master, my dear Master, with deep gratitude for the wisdom, for all the resources that I have here on this earth, ancient texts, my inner knowing, vibrations from the universe, spoken word, classes, academic classes, all of the ways that I can get information and turn it into wisdom and knowledge and application. I'm so grateful for all of those things that help me to expand and become more of who I already am. With deep gratitude, I set my intention for this practice today. To receive healing. To receive healing in my body, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul. And to receive more wisdom in how I can release extra energy that no longer serves me. And how I can share that with others in a manner that they can receive as well. So as we set the intention for our practice, we then give the password. And the password unlocks the powers of the universe. I am in the universe. The universe is in my body. The universe and I combine together as one. As you say that password either out loud or in your mind, take a deep breath and feel where you're guided to go, what imagery comes up for you. Maybe pop it into the chat if you have seen this later, put it in the comments. When you say the password, what imagery comes up? I am in the universe. The universe is in my body. The universe and I combine together as one. I have an image of myself as a little embryo, actually. Kind of happily floating in the galaxies. I see stars around me. I see the vastness of the universe. I know there's no beginning to it and no end to it. And I feel happy in that space. This is just the image that's coming to me right now. And there's so much possibility there. So much expansion, so much joy and happiness. So from that password, the first movement of the 5 healing elements is the moving of yin and yang. Our right hand is up by our throat and our left hand is down at our lower dantian. In a very simplistic form, yin energy is female energy and yang energy is male energy. Our whole systems, body, mind, spirit, soul, is made up of both yin and yang. If we try to get rid of one of them, we are completely out of balance. This practice right now is the moving of yin and yang. Right hand goes up and out and down. Left hand comes in and up. We're breathing deeply and slowly. We have a smile on our face. We're leading with the elbows. As we breathe in the feeling of happiness. In this moment, I am happy. As we breathe out, we're releasing any extra energy that has given us and brought wisdom to us and brought experience to us and is now ready to be released back into the universe, to be recycled back into unconditional love and joy and happiness. Those are puppy noises. I am happy. I am so very, very happy. Breathing in through our nose now and out through our nose. We have a smile on our face. Invite that smile to your body and to your face. And if that's a little difficult, observe again your body and see what happens when you actually do smile, even if you don't have the emotion that would facilitate a smile. For me, when I smile, my chest softens and opens and expands. And observe your body. Right now I observe that in the back of my left hand there was some tension. And as I soften my hands there, you can ask your body when it's got pain what message it would like to give you, what message it would like you to receive. That might sound strange. As we talk to our bodies and connect with our bodies and ask them what information they have that they're holding for us. Sometimes pain might be increased because our body says, oh, you will listen now, thank you. You just really need to know that this is what's holding what I'm dealing with. Sometimes as we observe it and breathe into it, whatever the pain is or whatever the sensation is, it doesn't have to be pain, it can just be a sensation. As we become aware and observe our bodies, sometimes sensations dissipate or move and change into another sensation. We start to have a dialogue and a conversation with our bodies. Dr. Candace Pert, a psychoneuroimmunologist, said the body is the subconscious mind. If we feel a pain and we brace and go, oh no, oh no, oh no, go away, go away, go away, we cut off a whole line of communication. If we feel a pain or a sensation and we breathe into it and say, thank you. What would you like to tell me? What would you like me to know? How can I balance more? We might get concrete answers of actions that we can take. The simple act of listening and observing might be all that's needed to balance. As we move this yin and yang, yin energy and yang energy, the basic energetic elements of their whole existence. As we move them and balance them, breathe in the feeling of happiness. In this moment, I am happy. I feel so happy right now. Beautiful happiness. I feel so very happy. Going to bring our hands back to the lower dantian. Just receive an energy ball here. And receiving the energy of our qi. Qi is our energy in our body. But the expanded definition of qi is energy with knowledge and a blueprint for our body and our mind and our soul and our spirit. It has life force in it. And it has intelligence. And the intelligence of our qi is guided by our intention. Our qi will not do anything that we have not asked it to do. And when we step into the emptiness and open ourselves to all possibility and receive all possibility, we guide our qi to use that information that comes from all possibility and from the unconditional love of the universe. And when we guide our qi through our intention to receive that, then we don't have to know intellectually exactly what's going on, because our intention has given permission to our qi to access the unconditional love and wisdom and knowledge of the universe. And little by little we'll not understand it, but even before we understand it, it can be active in us because of our intention. Feel the qi right now at your lower dantian, your navel. Feel it spinning faster and faster to the right and condensing smaller and smaller and smaller. But it's condensing, it's not lessening. Condensation means that it's becoming more concentrated. As it comes into our lower dantian, our navel area, we invite it in. It becomes a reservoir of qi with our intention. It moves through our body throughout the day. When we repeat this practice over and over again, we replenish our qi, we replenish our intention. And now we will harvest our qi. Rubbing our hands back and forth, warming our hands up. fingertips tapping in. Now we're going to take our hands and rub them on both sides of the nose, up into the forehead, outside the hairline. And say to yourself as you do this, say, I love you. I've got a ton of moisturizer on my face. But even so, if you can't touch your face for a certain reason, perhaps you've got skin that's difficult or very fragile, you can run your hands energetically above your face without even touching, with the intention that you are touching all those meridian points that correspond to all of our systems inside of our bodies. And say to yourself, I love you. I love you. I love you. Use your own name. I love you, Roxy. Tap the top of your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Back of the head. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just going to bring in a little awareness there. I've always struggled with my name. I've always felt that it's a bit of a childish name. And I grew up in a very small town in Manitoba where people didn't have different names, and my name was very different. And people would always say to me, your name is Roxy. And so as I suggested that you call yourself by name and say you love yourself, I felt this little piece behind me as I said out loud to you and within your presence and hearing, I love you, Roxy. I felt that little tiny bit of shame, a tiny bit of, that's a really crazy name, and maybe I shouldn't love myself, and maybe I shouldn't say that out loud. So I just observed that. That's what I mean by observing. When I invite you into a practice and you try it, what happens behind? And as I observe that, I simply observe it. And now as I tap and tap down the body, whatever of that energy and that observation is ready to be released and balanced, now will be. I don't have to say, well, I should feel differently. I can just say, oh, I observe that. I observe that feeling of shame at my name. You don't have to do anything about it, just observe it. Left hand palm up, left hand palm down, left hand palm up, left hand palm down. Other side. We're going to clap our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are activating heart points in our hands. We're going to tap our sacrum. Tap, tap, tap on that sacrum. We're going to move our hands up. We'll have open fists like this. We're tapping with this part of our hand. We're going to move our hands up and tap our kidneys very gently. All the Qigong movements are very gentle. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Observe. Be kind. You are doing, and I am doing, our very best. We're going to tap our hips that we know how to do in every given moment. Every one of us in every moment. We truly are. Because as we have layers of things that give us perceptions and ideas and expectations, we're doing our very best that we can within what we're operating. With these movements, we sometimes can change, if we need to and wish to, we can change the software in our brain. We can recondition it. And the back, we can retrain our brain. 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the right knee. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. I love you. I enjoy being with you, even if you're not present with me as I'm presenting, but you see it later on. I really love you, no matter who you are or where you are. Namaste.